what we have here is a Subaru Impreza. It's a 1999 with drum brakes. And I'm doing the rear wheel bearing on this thing. I looked all over on how to get out this ridiculous bolt. This is the lower lateral arm bolt that's 11 inches long or whatever and goes all the way through. I've hosed it down with liquid wrench, I've used Croil, I've been on it with the air hammer here. I mean I've tried a ball peen hammer and pounding on these things with, you know, basically put a ball peen hammer on here and then hit it with another hammer to try to loosen up the sleeves that are inside, because obviously this bolt is seized to the sleeves that are inside. And it's just not coming out. So what I've done is, instead of taking this off, I came under the car and I did the other end of these arms, and I marked this one right where it originally was with some chalk, and then went ahead and undid the nut on the other side. Don't turn this, just unturn the nut on the other side, and then this one will come out. Put that aside. And then the same with the other one. This one is cambered. This one, this forward one is not cambered, so you can just slide that one out. Of course, like everybody else on YouTube, it's hard to do this with one hand. Anyhow, and then all you have to do is then take your strut here, pull this bolt, and then the whole assembly just swings down. And I found that's all I have to do. And doing those three, I could pull this out enough and bring the CD out. Then I can go ahead and replace this crazy bearing. And I've just went down to O'Reilly's and borrowed their slide hammer here, and I went to Harbor Freight and bought this thing so that I don't have to take the whole assembly off of the car. I can just hook this thing up and press the thing out. I didn't see anybody that had addressed this on these Subarus about just taking the front ones off and just forgetting this whole thing. You know, a lot of people say online, "Oh, cut it in half and then drive it all out." Man, why go through all that work? It's just crazy. Just take off those three, boom, you're away laughing. I was going to use the slide hammer and that puller adapter to pull the hub off, but it was for a domestic vehicle. I didn't notice that when I rented it from the store. So I had to put the CV joint back in there, and then I went back and got a front hub puller. Since these have CV joints, you just use the front hub puller. And you just put it on with the lug nuts, you know, and tighten down this middle shaft until it pushes against the CV, and then finally this will just pop right out, which I just did. And so popped out couple of the pins I see too, and it really popped. There was a lot of force on it. But anyhow, so I'll get that off of there and probably take off the tone ring first and then cut it off with a wheel because I don't have a bearing separator. But anyways, we'll get that done. Well, once you get your hub out, there's a snap ring back in here. Make sure you pull that snap ring out before you start pulling the bearing out. Okay, I bought one of these front wheel bearing adapter toolkits from Harbor Freight, and I use this 95508 one for putting in the back of the bearing, in the very back here, and then I use the smallest one to go right on top of the hub. Alright, let's get all this together. I don't quite have an adapter big enough to fit over the hub with the Subaru, so I am tickled pink that it fits right on top. So that's a good thing. Go ahead and just tighten that together and it'll push the bearing right out of there. big nut in the back is a 32. It's the same as the axle nut, but this front one with this Harbor Freight tool set is a 27 millimeter. So make sure you have one of those. Tighten them together and it'll compress itself and just pop out just like that. So take that apart. There's your bearing. Erase. Look at that. My word. How in the world did that happen? Alright, we're ready to put in the new one. I just pulled this bearing out of the freezer. It's a genuine Subaru bearing. This is the only way to go on these in my opinion. All the aftermarket bearings that have failed and just apparently they were just absolute junk for whatever reason. And, machined out this middle section of these new ones, these factory ones, and I guess that's the ticket for it to really be exactly what you need. I probably have my arm right in front of the camera there, but well, can't have everything in this life. It's down just a hair. That's all you do, and you just tighten it up. And don't like to use any air tools because these things just, you know, you could probably do it, but what, you know, what for? Why would you? Why put the stress on it that isn't needed? It goes in very easily. Probably about, I don't know, 15 pounds of torque. Not much at all. Alright, it turns in pretty easy. And you just want to go until it seats. And you can get the snap ring in. That's probably about the spot. Now we're going to just put the snap ring back in here. Like most of the guys on YouTube, I do not have a set of snap ring pliers, but anyways, you just want to make sure that it's tucked in there like that, so you know, don't let it come out. It's bad news. Anyways, that's it. Hopefully that helps somebody. I know that for myself, I couldn't really find anything out there. There was a few videos here and there, but you know, if this gives you some help, then that's fantastic. Good luck to you.